Hey guys, it's Chris with Double Eagle Gunworks, and today we're going to be looking at the sights on the HK45. This is the HK45 Tactical, and it comes with suppressor height sights, and there were night sights, but there was a dot in the front, and it was just blacked out on the back. Just had a U-notch in the back, and I never really could get used to those sights. It just didn't give me a really good sight picture. I didn't like the way it looked, so I wanted to change out those sights. So I decided to go with the TruGlo TFX Pro sights. It's both got a Tritium vial in the sight as well as fiber optics. So any light that you've got outside, the fiber optic will pick up and it'll make it a nice green glow to the vial. And this one also has, the front sight has a orange dot around the green vial, so it gives you a really nice looking sight picture in daylight. See that orange circle around the front sight makes it really easy to pick up. And then at night, the Tritium really stands out against the black of the gun, and you can see those sights really well. So if we can pick it up that much in the light or not, but the sights really stand out now that I've got the sights changed. It just took a little bit of time. I had to do a little bit of adjustment on the new sights to be able to put them in and get them to fit into the dovetails properly. But I used the Wheeler sight pusher tool. I used it, and then had to use a couple of punches to be able to get stuff started on get the old sights out. But watch the video and see what you think. Okay guys, today we're going to be taking the sights off of my HK45 slide here. So I went ahead and took the slide off of the gun and taped it up a little bit here to protect the finish of the slide. And I'm going to be swapping the sights, the suppressor height sights that came with the HK45 Tactical. Just never was very comfortable shooting with those sights, so I'm going to be swapping them out for the TruGlo TFX Pro sights. It's got the Tritium and the fiber optic vials on it, so that it's got dots on the back and the rear. I purchased a Wheeler Engineering sight pusher to be able to put this thing, take it apart and put everything back together properly. Also got a set of punches here just in case I needed those to be able to get the sight started. And I played with this a little bit earlier just to see how it was going to work. And the rear sight, there's no pins or anything or screws in the bottom of the gun, but it is just very tight in the dovetail there. So to actually get it broke loose, I had to take the punch and drive it out a little bit just to get it started, so that the pusher wouldn't, I wouldn't mess up the pusher trying to get it broke loose. But with the way this thing is set up, you put it into the pusher here, and you've got the different adjustments, and depending on which way you're pushing the slide out, and I'm going right to left on this one, so the instructions tell you to have the stops on that side all the way out, so that they're tied up against the wall of the clamp here. And then you adjust everything in and try to get it lined up. There's lines in the bottom of the clamp here, so that you can try to make sure that you keep everything straight in the frame when you're setting everything up. So just put the gun back in here and just tighten the ones up on the right hand side enough just to keep the slide snug in there for the time being. And then you take the top portion of the pusher and put it down over the posts here, and it's got a couple of washers that you put underneath that, and then it's got the bolts that tighten everything up here. It's also got a height adjustment right here so that you are able to get this portion of the pusher, which is actually what contacts the sight, get it just so that it is high enough to clear the top of the slide so that you don't scratch the finish on your slide as you're pushing it out. So make sure that we got the slide in far enough, and I need to loosen that up just a little bit, and you want the slide in far enough so that the sight is right there, the dovetail of the sight is right on that post right there, so that you can get a good grip, for nothing but lack of a better term, just to get it on the sight and make sure that it's lined up and it can get the pressure right against the slide. So we'll go ahead and tighten the slide in there a little bit more so that it's in the pusher good, and then we'll tighten these top screws down so that the pusher is lined up across there. And like I said, I've already got it started a little bit, but we're going to go right to left with the sight. So you just take up the little bit of slack that was in there, and then this side of the mechanism catches the side of the sight, and then you just keep turning the handle and it will push the slide of the sight out of the slide. And since I've got this loosened up a little bit, it's going a lot better than it was to start with, because it was really tight to begin with. But now it's actually pushing it out fairly easily. So once we get all the way across the top of the slide, so now we have the old side out, and it doesn't have any adjustment screws or anything there. It's just the and you can see that the old sight was just a black finish on the back, so there wasn't any dots to be able to pick up anything on the rear side. It was just the U-notch, and it never gave me a really good sight picture, and with it being suppressor height sights, it was a little bit harder for me to get used to this thing. So I wanted to swap them out to something that was normal height, because doubt very much I'll ever get a suppressor to put on this gun. So let's take these out of the box of the packaging now. Okay guys, I've got the new sight started in there. I had to do some adjustment to the bottom of the new sight. Just take a little bit of material off the bottom of it so that it would fit in the groove better. I was using some 180 grit sandpaper, as well as a diamond card sharpening stone, to take some of the finish off the bottom of it to allow enough room for the dovetail to fit in there. But it just about got it pushed back in place here. So let's get it centered up on the back side. So we'll turn it. So we were pushing it out, going right to left. So when you start to put it back in, you're going to go left to right to put it back in place. So we'll just keep adjusting the spin handle here. Okay, so we'll keep adjusting this until we get it back centered up on the line there. So we'll just keep turning the wheel to get this lined up properly. And it would be probably better if I had this vise in another vise to be able to line everything up properly. But live and learn. next time we'll do that. Because if I like these sights, I may change out a couple of the other guns, because I really like the way this looks so far. Trying to get that lined up. Get that line right there lined up with the center of the U-notch there. And that's pretty close, but let me twist it just a little bit more. Let's take the slide out and see what it looks like. So just take the pressure off the sight with the spinner there, and then take the top part of the clamp back off. And you can see underneath it that it's also got a piece that holds down the slide in place that way. We'll loosen these up here. Take the slide back out. And based on the grooves in the slide here and the dovetail, looks like we might have it just a little bit too far to the left, so we'll need to put it back in there and adjust it so that that space there is equal to that space there, so that we have the sight dead center in the top of the rail there. So, and snug these handles up here, and now we'll turn the pusher to where it's pushing on the right side of the slide a little bit, and then we'll just push that back over a little bit. And it seems like when you're pushing this thing that it takes a lot of effort to get it to go just a little bit of distance. There was it slid just a little bit there when you heard that clicking. Okay, let me hit that with a flashlight. Okay, that gap looks about the same there now. Okay, so I think we got the rear sight adjusted properly. So let's take the slide back out. Pull that out. And we'll take these, just all that over. Okay, so we're pretty well centered up there. Now, once you get the sight where you want it, it's got a Allen screw in there, and it comes with the Allen wrench that goes with it, and you just tighten up that set screw to where it will keep the sight from moving around. So you just put that set screw and set it down snug onto the sight there. Okay, so that's not going to go anywhere. It was pretty tight going in there, so it's not going to move around a whole lot anyway. Now we've got to adjust the front sight, so we got to get the front sight back out now, so that it lines up with the new rear sight. Because you got two different height sights on there right now. You got the front sight a lot higher than the rear sight. Now, to get the front sight out, you got to turn it around, because the bottom of the slide was flush at the back, but at the front you've got the keeper for the recoil spring there that you've got to account for. So you got a notch in the base of the pusher there that allows that front sight, or allows that recoil spring lug to stay in there. So now this one's going to be a little bit more aggravating to get to, because the sight itself does not stand up above the at least the base of the sight. Like the rear sight had this whole side that you could push against and get it out, but the front sight is flush with the top of the gun, so it's going to be a little bit trickier getting it out. You don't want this to scratch the top of the rail as it's pushing the slide out, but you don't also want the this to be so high on that it breaks the sight off before you get it out. So let's raise it up just a little bit. I want to make sure that it clears the slide there, and it looks like it's going to there. We're lined up with the sight pretty good there. Let's go ahead and clamp this back down. Now the rear sight, I had to get started with a punch at first, so we'll see if this one's going to come out any quicker. Get all that tightened up. Now let's move that handle to where it comes in contact with the front sight, and okay, good. So it's going to break loose a little bit easier than the rear sight did, because there's no pins or anything in the HK slides that hold the sights in place. That's just the tightness of the dovetail that holds everything in place. So there's the old rear sight, just a little dovetail that went in there and had just the one white dot for it had the tritium in that for the night sights on that, but it was just the one dot sight, and it was very difficult to do anything with, at least for me anyway. Now we'll move this back over a little bit, and now the new front sight has the red dot or the orange around the tritium vial, so that it shows up nice during the day. You got the green tritium surrounded by the orange circle, and in the daylight that orange circle really makes it stand out a lot more. So let's see if we can get this in here without having to do a lot of adjustment on the slide on this one. Let's see if it's going to slide in. Okay, I think we're going to have to do a little bit of adjustment on the bottom of it to make sure that it's got enough clearance to get into the sight there, because it was starting, but I don't want it to be extremely tight going in there. So we'll take the sandpaper and just, all I'm going to do is just take the finish off the bottom of the metal there, just that minute amount of clearance, and then I'm just going to lightly hit the dovetails a little bit to make sure there's not a glob of finish on those. I had to do the same thing with the rear sight, so I figured I'd probably have to do a little bit of adjustment to the front side as well. But I don't want to sand too much on this one, because there's no set screw to be able to hold this one in place. It's just the tightness of the dovetail that holds it in place. So you don't want to get it too loose in there so that it moves around too much. Now let's adjust these wheels here so that it's also pushing the slide all the way against this side of the frame, so that you have all the pressure going that way. because you want your slide adjusted all the way to the side that you're pushing against there. Cocking the sight up just a little bit. Let's tap that back out. A little bit too snug in there. So let's take a little bit more material off. Okay, so we got the front sight put in. I had to actually get it started with the punch a little bit to get it drove into the groove where it was. When I was using the pusher, it was wanting to actually get the sight at a little bit of an angle, so I had to get it started into the dovetail straight, and then I could take the pusher and push it the rest of the way over, and just had to get it the final adjustments on it so that it's dead center there in the front. So what the sight picture looks like now, you've got the bright green dots at the back, nice green one at the front with that orange circle around it, so it's a really nice looking sight picture there. Okay guys, so we came out to the range after I got the sights changed out on the HK. Put a couple of magazines through it just to see if I had the sights lined up properly, and I think I did a pretty good job. Got everything lined up, hitting the target where I was aiming at, so everything works good. Makes the gun a lot easier to shoot, just being able to pick up these sights a lot easier than the old sights that were on it. So check out doubleeaglegunworks.com for more information, and like and subscribe down at the bottom. We'll talk to you later.